Hey class, time for another video. This one is about section 1.5, which is called solving literal equations. And what that means is it's really an equation that has multiple variables in it. And so after we solve it, our answer's still going to have variables in it. It's not like we're going to get a nice answer, y equals 11. We're going to have some variables in our answer, and that's okay. So let's take a look at this first problem. It says solve for y. That means that y right here is the variable that I want to isolate. Okay, so my first step is I got to get that term alone. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides because that's the other term. All right, and when I do that, I get negative 5y. That negative sticks around with the 5y equals negative 2x plus 30. All right, notice how I wrote the x first. We usually write the x terms before the constant terms. Okay, or a term with a variable before a term that doesn't have a variable. Then I'm going to divide everything by negative 5. So when I do that, because I'm going to get y alone by doing that. And notice I'm not adding 5, I'm dividing by negative 5, because this is negative 5 times y. So I do it to the first term, and I do it to the second term. So what I end up with is y equals negative 2 divided by negative 5 becomes positive 2/5 x. And then 30 divided by negative 5 becomes minus 6. So there's my answer. You might recognize that as slope-intercept form. That's kind of why we would need to solve for y. So let's try another. All right, in this one, solve for y. 16x plus 9 equals 9y minus 2x. Again, notice where your y is. It's right here, so I've got to get that term alone. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides, and when I do that, I notice I'm combining like terms here. Okay, so I get 18x plus 9 equals 9y, and now just like before, I'll divide everything by 9. I'm not subtracting it. I got to divide by 9 to get that y alone. So here I get 2x plus 1 equals y. Y is alone, so I'm all done. This third problem now says solve for x. Alright, so this one I got to do a little differently. I'll notice that I've got two terms that have x in them. Well, they're on the same side, so I can combine them. 10x take away 3x would be 7x equals 21y. And here I'm like, you got to pay attention. What are you solving for? I'm trying to solve for x. So I've got to divide by 7 on both sides, and then I'll get x equals 3y, and that's my answer. X equals 3y. Number 4, all right, this one's a tricky one. So I wanted to show one of these, but we'll also do a few of these in class, okay? X is in the denominator, right? So we have to be careful. When you see x in the denominator, your first job in this problem is to make both sides a fraction, right? Because then what I'm going to do is cross multiply. So I'm going to do 5 times 1, which gets me 5, equals, and then I do x times y, which is just literally x times y, or you can write xy. Now if I want to get the x alone, I have to move the y to the other side. So to undo times y, I'm going to have to divide by y. So when I do that, I get 5 over y equals x, and now the x is alone. I cross multiplied, and then I divided by y. Alright, just 2 more problems. For these problems, we're solving a formula. Alright, so some formulas you know, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or maybe a area of a circle is pi r squared. You've heard of different formulas we use in math a lot, so sometimes we want to solve for one of the variables in those formulas. All right, number 5, this is a perimeter formula. It's perimeter of a rectangle. If you had a rectangle, you get the length and you get the width. So the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the height, I guess it's called here. So let's fix that. So I'm supposed to solve for h in this problem. It means I need to get this term alone. So I need to move the other term to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2l from both sides. So the left side becomes P minus 2L. They're not like terms, so I can't combine them, so I just write them as a subtraction problem. P minus 2L. Those cancel, and then I get equals 2H. Right? Then if I want to get H alone, I just need to divide by 2. And just like we were doing in those first couple problems, we'll divide by 2 everywhere. And so that's going to leave me with P over 2 minus L equals H. P over 2 minus L equals H. And that's my equation. Finally, number 6, solve for B1. All right, this one's a tricky one. All right, I gotta get this B1 alone, but right now it's trapped in parentheses. So I have to deal with the stuff, undo the stuff outside the parentheses. So the first thing I'm gonna take care of is the 1/2. If I wanna cancel out 1 divided by 2, I need to multiply both sides by 2. So I get 2a equals, those cancel, h parenthesis b1 plus b2. Now, again, to free the parentheses, I need to get rid of what's in front. So that says h times parentheses, so I can divide by h. And that leads me to 2a over h equals, and now the parentheses are freed, so it's just b1 plus b2. So if I want to get b1 alone, I just have to subtract b2. So then my final answer here is 2a over h minus b2 equals b1. Okay, we'll do a lot of practice with these in class. Thanks for watching.